Is that your mum?
Yeah.
Right, we don't know yet. We'll let the ambulance crew do what they need to do, all right? They're going to be doing. What did you see? What happened? Did you see anything? Come and sit down. What's your name? George, sit down. Come on. What did you see?
One night, a mother's life ended in seconds, and a 14-year-old girl's world shattered forever. She couldn't have imagined that a normal drive home would turn into a nightmare. 14-year-old Georgia Gabriel Hooper sat frozen in the car, watching in horror as her mother was attacked right before her eyes.
She was screaming, shouting, "Jack, Jack!" and she couldn't get out the car.
She was trapped and helpless, and screamed, and could not get away from what was happening just a few feet away. Screams filled the air, but no one could stop what was happening. How could someone carry out such a brutal act right in front of a child and vanish without a trace? When the police got there, things had already gotten completely out of control. But what they discovered next would shock everyone, that how could something so horrifying happen right under their noses?
Keep your hands in the air! Move out to the open!
Okay.
He's blooded. He's clearly in a lot of pain. It's a grotesque scene. In layman's terms, he's blown his face off.
The night of January 26, 2018 in Newport, Shropshire began quietly, but it would soon erupt into unimaginable horror. At around 11:25 p.m., a frantic emergency call was placed, reporting a woman shot in her car.
Emergency.
There's a lady in the car next to me being shot.
Is she alive?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's everywhere. Cheryl Hooper, her name is. Cheryl? Cheryl? Cheryl, can you hear me? She's not moving.
When police arrived, they were met by a scene of panic and chaos, with neighbors visibly shaken by the unfolding tragedy. Cheryl Hooper had been shot while sitting in her vehicle outside the family home, and the person responsible was none other than her husband, Andrew Hooper, also known as Jack. Inside the house, Cheryl's 14-year-old daughter, Georgia Gabriel Hooper, was trapped in the car, frozen in shock and unable to comprehend what was happening. She had watched her stepfather attack her mother repeatedly, too close to escape or intervene. The terrifying sight replayed endlessly in her mind as the realization sank in that the man she had known so well had become a murderer.
She was screaming, shouting, "Jack, Jack, Jack!" and she couldn't get out the car. I thought he had a spade or a sledgehammer. I didn't see it was a gun until I got round the car and he went like that.
The violence was sudden, brutal, and personal, and Georgia could only watch helplessly as the attack unfolded before her eyes. Cheryl had been shot twice at close range, leaving little chance for survival.
Pulled up on the drive. He pulled up in the silver Land Rover behind the car, so my mum couldn't go anywhere. He went up to the driver's window and had the gun and was banging the barrel against the glass. I didn't want to go over it. I didn't want to go over it.
George, I know this is difficult.
He was hitting the gun against the car. I thought it was a spade or something. I just thought he was going to hit her with something. I jumped out of the car trying to unlock my phone. I couldn't unlock my phone. Trying to get the police to come straight away. He banged the glass shattered, and then he put the gun up properly and shot her.
Paramedics did everything they could to save her, but she was pronounced dead at the scene, leaving the young girl to grapple with grief and disbelief. Authorities quickly recognized the urgency of the situation. Jack had fled the scene, and he was considered armed and extremely dangerous. Officers immediately began a manhunt, focusing on the 400-acre farm he owned nearby.
It's pitch black. They don't know where he is. He could be hidden anywhere. They know that the last thing that Mr. Hooper did was to kill his wife. And who knows what's going through his mind.
The remote property, surrounded by dense land and far from prying eyes, offered him the perfect hiding place. The darkness of the night added to the tension, as police had no way of knowing where he might be or what he might do next.
Movement. Okay. Oh, police! Keep your hands in the air! Move out to the open!
Come, get on the floor, mate.
Get down on the floor!
Cover the buildings left and right. Cover the buildings. He shot himself. Yeah. I've got to let it back. Get down on the floor! Andrew, get on the floor!
Every step of the tactical operation was approached with extreme caution, aware that he had just taken a life and could act unpredictably. When officers finally spotted Jack outside the property, the situation shifted dramatically. What they discovered was more shocking than anyone could have anticipated.
Get on the floor now! Get on your knees! Andrew, get on the floor! Floor now! Someone get a med pack! I've got a med pack! Okay.
Jack's violence did not end with Cheryl's death. He turned it on himself, leaving his body and face brutally damaged. Emergency responders rushed to save him, their priority shifting from arrest to survival. But the devastation of the scene was unforgettable.
We're gonna help you, mate.
And the moment that they come across him, they go from seeking his arrest to having to provide critical first
Come on,
aid.
mate, get on your knees for me. Get on your knees, buddy. Kneel down. Right, kneel down. Andrew, kneel down for me. We're here to help.
While he was taken to the hospital, detectives focused on Georgia, Cheryl's young daughter, who chose to share her account immediately despite her trauma. Her memories were sharp and heartbreaking. She recalled how her mother had gone to a pub with a friend, only for Jack to appear and begin harassing her.
Your first name?
Georgia.
Georgia, and do you have any middle names, Georgia?
Yeah, May.
Okay, you're 14 at the moment.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here today, you okay to talk to us right now, dear? Okay? Absolutely, and we discussed that outside, didn't we? You know, you've been quite adamant with us that you want to speak to us right now and just get everything over and done with. And that's perfect. So if at any point that it does get a little bit...
The unease followed Cheryl home as Jack trailed her car, his obsession driving every move. Georgia remembered her desperate attempt to get help, but before she could, her mother was shot before her eyes. The attack was ruthless and calculated, leaving not only a child scarred, but an entire community shattered by such senseless cruelty.
Keeps replaying in your mind, okay? And you've also mentioned briefly about smells before.
I know the smell of a shotgun cartridge and it just...
I know it's going to be really, really difficult for you, but at this stage we need to kind of access those memories just to get as much detail as we possibly can from you. And so just go back to that gun. Have you ever seen that gun before?
I don't know. He's got lots of guns.
From Georgia's recollections, it was clear that Jack had already decided to harm Cheryl, yet the detectives needed to understand what had pushed him to such a terrifying point.
Tell me about your mum and her friend.
My mum's friend was Caroline Tranter. It wasn't anything serious. I think they just leant on each other a little bit and tried to help each other through it.
Yeah.
Through the hard times.
Years earlier, Cheryl had been a single mother, focused on raising her daughter after a failed marriage and hoping for a fresh start. She met Andrew Hooper, a local farmer who seemed warm, charismatic, and eager to win her trust.
My mum and Jack met through friends. They were set up on a date. It wasn't something that my mum usually did, but she was sort of encouraged to go and do it, and that's how their relationship started.
At first, he appeared to be the kind of partner who could bring stability to their lives. The family seemed to settle into a promising rhythm, enjoying financial security and a large, comfortable farmhouse that gave Cheryl a glimpse of a life she had long wished for.
So they had a farm. I remember Jack being really chatty and, enjoying the fact that we were there, wanting to show me around, wanting to show Mum around. He had that sort of dad look about him, so I was really excited for him to possibly take that role.
But beneath the charm, Jack's true personality started to surface. Slowly, his controlling side became apparent. He discouraged Cheryl from spending time with her friends, expected her to manage the enormous household alone, and reacted harshly whenever she tried to assert herself.
I remember Cheryl turning up at the farm and thinking, wow. The next day I said to Jack, who's that? That's my girlfriend, my partner. You could see in Jack's eyes, he knew he was batting above his mark.
I think both my mum and I were excited to see where this relationship would go. He put in the work and the effort and the graft to win her over, and to show Mum, that he really cared.
His abuse was often silent and emotional rather than physical, but it created a tense and oppressive atmosphere.
He did put in the effort, to wine and dine. He bought Mum presents. He was so charming, but I don't think anybody knew the real Jack.
Over time, his cruelty extended to Georgia, who never knew when she might upset him or face punishment, making the home feel unsafe and unpredictable.
He did not want to lift a finger. And if she wasn't home cooking dinner like he expected, there would be repercussions. A lot of the time it was silent treatment. He wasn't necessarily physically abusive. He wasn't a shouty man. He would just ice you out completely.
Despite the warning signs, Cheryl married Jack after several years, clinging to the hope that things would improve.
The relationship was very much abusive by the time that he proposed to Mum, but he promised her that things would change and things would get better. And I think my mum was in a position where she thought, oh, actually, okay, he is serious about this. And she said yes.
Instead, his controlling behavior intensified. He drank heavily, grew more aggressive, and hid serious financial problems, which added further strain.
It just became so nasty. He was drinking a lot more. He became a lot more aggressive. He was more degrading to my mum, and things just started to get a lot more severe.
By the end of 2017, the marriage had deteriorated completely. Cheryl was left isolated in the sprawling farmhouse, feeling trapped and emotionally exhausted. The tension that had been building for years finally reached a breaking point, setting the stage for the fateful night when fear, anger, and desperation would collide in a violent, tragic confrontation that no one could have foreseen. Cheryl had reached a breaking point. The fear she had carried for months became undeniable when she realized just how dangerous Jack could be. On one particular evening, she could hear him moving at the bottom of the staircase, the unmistakable sound of a gun being loaded echoing through the house. The repeated snapping and clicking of the barrels as he prepared the shotgun filled her with terror.
I could hear him at the bottom of the staircase with his gun, breaking the barrels and putting them back together again, which is how you would load a shotgun. He then stamped up the stairs really slowly and in quite a menacing way.
When he finally climbed the stairs, every step slow and deliberate, his presence felt threatening and menacing. He opened the bedroom door in a sudden, aggressive motion, making Cheryl believe he held the gun, though he actually didn't. The fear she felt in that moment was overwhelming.
He flung the bedroom door open and he didn't have the gun, but he led my mum to believe that he had the gun. I've never seen somebody shake so much. All she could say to me was, I thought he had the gun and I thought he was going to shoot me. At this point, I'd really realized what he was capable of, and I said to her, enough's enough, we're leaving right now.
Leaving her trembling and convinced her life and her daughter's could end at any second. It was then that Cheryl realized she could no longer stay. The decision to leave the farm and seek safety became urgent, and with the support of her parents, she packed what she could and moved into their home, determined that this time she was leaving for good. Cheryl's relief at leaving Jack was short-lived, as fear shadowed her every step. On New Year's Day 2018, her worst suspicions were confirmed when Jack showed up at her parents' home with a shotgun, threatening to end his life.
She went round to the house and he was in the living room with a shotgun between his legs. The only way that she really could think of getting him to calm down was essentially by putting her head over the gun too and saying, you know, you need to stop this because I'm not going to let you take your life.
He sat with the weapon between his legs in the living room, forcing Cheryl into a desperate attempt to calm him. She tried to reason with him, showing compassion, but her decision to walk away never wavered. That choice seemed to break something in Jack, turning his despair into obsession. Soon after, he began stalking her, appearing wherever she went and making her feel constantly watched. His control tightened when he stole her car, only to return it with an apology, leaving Cheryl believing a tracker had been placed inside. The suffocating surveillance became unbearable, driving her to seek help from authorities on January 12th, just weeks before her life was taken.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, hi there. Hello. Yes, I wonder if you could help me.
Right, okay. So what was the incident that happened?
It started with my husband sort of smashing the TV and then different things of threatening to kill himself, and then he took my car from my parents' house and I didn't know about it. He did sort of follow us around a little bit over Christmas. We didn't see him, but he did ring up to say that he'd been looking for I suppose upset people and frustrated people just do silly things, don't they?
Yeah.
So,
And what's your ex-partner's name?
Andrew Jonathan Hooper.
Despite these warnings, the legal response was minimal, as Jack had not caused physical harm. The only significant action taken was the temporary suspension of his gun license on January 19th, a blow that affected him deeply. Shooting was a central part of his life and social identity, and losing access to firearms felt like another loss after Cheryl had already left him. For Jack, it seemed there was little left to control, and his frustration turned into something far more sinister.
Jack losing his guns would mean he couldn't go shooting, and shooting was a big show because he ran his own shoot. For all of his friends to see that he lost his guns because of something he was doing, that would be really embarrassing.
He's lost Cheryl already, and then he's lost his guns. So what's he got left in life?
Cheryl, determined not to let fear dominate her life, tried to move forward. She reached out to friends and attempted to rebuild a sense of normalcy, even arranging to meet someone new at a local pub.
She said, I need you to come for a drink with me, I've got a friend. Really, with it being quite soon after a breakdown of a relationship, I was really excited for her to meet another man.
But the shadow of Jack's obsession followed her. On the night she went out with a friend, the feeling of being watched was constant. A car seemed to follow them, and Cheryl initially dismissed the thought, unwilling to accept the full extent of the danger she faced. Her attempt to keep calm proved to be tragically misguided. Upon seeing Jack outside the pub, Cheryl tried to manage the situation, hoping to avoid confrontation.
She said, let's take this outside, Jack. She was not scared that Jack had come in the pub. I was petrified for her. They was outside for about 10 minutes, and then Jack left.
He accused her of infidelity and threatened her with divorce, while also making ominous warnings about destroying property at the farm. Even as she sought to protect herself and her daughter, Jack's fixation intensified. Cheryl's stepdaughter, Georgia, called him directly, attempting to reason with him, unaware of the true danger looming just beyond their reach.
Who the hell did you across the room, Jack? She's giving you chance after chance.
It's over, Georgia.
Yeah, I know it is, and it's your fault.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. If you hadn't treated us badly, it wouldn't be over.
Oh, that's what you think, Georgia.
That's what I know.
You're 14, you know shit.
That's nice.
This has been going on for a long time.
It doesn't mean you have a right to track the car. It doesn't mean you have a right to burn our stuff.
CCTV footage later revealed the methodical nature of Jack's actions that night, showing him taking items from the farmhouse and monitoring movements with precision.
Within minutes, he's taking something from the farmhouse to place into his vehicle. It's my opinion that he's carrying a gun.
Cheryl, sensing the threat, informed her father about the possible tracker under her car, but the warning was not acted upon in time. That night, Cheryl reassured her parents she would see them the next morning.
She didn't take heed to that. I don't think she realised enough how she was in danger.
Never imagining it would be the last time they would hear from her. Minutes later, a horrifying act would unfold that no one could stop, and the truth behind Jack's obsession would be revealed in the most chilling way.
And she said, I'll see you in the morning, Mum. I'll pick you up. And I love you. And that was the last words. I never saw her again.
Tragically, only minutes later, Jack carried out a violent attack, killing Cheryl in front of her teenage stepdaughter. The horror of witnessing her mother's murder left the young girl with an indelible trauma, yet it was her account that ultimately provided the critical evidence authorities needed.
I have a very firm belief that there's a reason I wasn't hurt, and there's a reason I'm here to be sharing our story, to be trying to save other people's lives.
Her courage in recounting the events so soon after the tragedy enabled detectives to piece together Jack's actions and intentions, bringing him to justice.
She's a 14-year-old girl. That's a really delicate thing to be doing. But we need fast-time information for her to sit down and give us that account so quickly after the murder of her mother. It's just phenomenal.
The resilience of a 14-year-old in the face of such horror became a key factor in ensuring that her mother's killer could no longer harm anyone else, a haunting but crucial part of a story defined by fear, obsession, and the tragic consequences of uncontrolled violence. Jack's story did not end with the violence he committed. It carried into the hospital, where detectives finally had their chance to confront him. Months had passed since the night Cheryl was murdered, and Jack was now barely alive, confined to a hospital bed after undergoing endless surgeries. His body was broken, his face disfigured, and his voice reduced to little more than a whisper.
That I've never done, and probably will never do again in my career. He's suffered terrible injuries. He's unable to speak. He hasn't got a mouth. He hasn't got a nose.
Is your name Andrew Jonathan Hooper?
Yet despite his fragile condition, this interview was the only chance detectives had to hear the truth from him directly. What he revealed, though limited by his inability to speak fully, was chilling.
I was knocking the driver's door window of the Range Rover with the barrel of the gun, just to emphasize that I was upset and I supposed to scare her. And somehow the gun went off, and that's what broke the glass. I realized that both barrels had gone off, and I realized what I'd done, and I panicked and drove off.
He admitted that on the night of the crime he approached Cheryl's car with an old gun he had retrieved from his parents' farm. He claimed he struck the window to frighten her, but the gun went off, escalating everything in an instant.
Referring to the diagram, is that Cheryl's head? Yes? If you're holding the gun directly at the window, as you say, intending to break it, and you fire it, it's pointing directly at Cheryl. I don't understand why not then. The question was, if you're holding the gun directly at the window and you fire it to break the window, it's pointing directly at Cheryl. And you're shaking your head indicating no, so...
No has been on the chart.
Okay.
Investigators, however, could see through the excuse. Every choice he made that night, the stalking, the weapon prepared for use, the close-range shots, pointed to cold premeditation, not panic or accident. The more detectives pieced together, the clearer Jack's obsession became. He had already lost his licensed firearms, yet he went out of his way to find a replacement, an antique that he meticulously cleaned and oiled. Witnesses confirmed how he tracked Cheryl's movements, determined to keep control over her even after their relationship had collapsed. The evidence showed that his first shot was delivered deliberately and the second was fatal, leaving no doubt that Cheryl's murder had been planned. His past only deepened the case against him. Years earlier, Jack had threatened his first wife, proof that this pattern of intimidation and violence had existed long before Cheryl. When the case reached Birmingham Crown Court, Jack was unable to speak for himself. Limited by his injuries, he used a keypad to communicate but offered no defense, no remorse, and no explanation beyond what detectives had already extracted. The jury saw a man who had acted with intention, not impulse, and in June 2019 they found him guilty of murder. The judge described his act as a calculated execution and sentenced him to life imprisonment, with a minimum of 31 years before release. For Cheryl's daughter, the trial was about more than punishment. It was about protecting her mother's legacy. She spoke of Cheryl's warmth, her kindness, her strength, and her deep impact on those around her.
I think it's really important to remember that my mum was such a kind person who was so involved in the community, and that she's not just a statistic for a murder case.
Though her life was taken in the most brutal way, Cheryl's story became a reminder of resilience and love. Even in the face of horror, her memory endured, carried forward by those who refused to let violence silence who she truly was. If you want to support stories like this and keep her memory alive, make sure to subscribe and stay with us for more.